Alt 98.7, we are the music that matters. Gino D here with you, and I have the pleasure of being connected via Zoom with Bear Reinhardt, otherwise known as Wilder Woods. Sir, welcome.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
You must be really excited right now. Of course, thank you for taking the time to speak with me this afternoon. We're going to have some fun. You must be so excited. Tomorrow, your sophomore album for Wilder Woods drops March 24th. It's called Fever Sky. You've gone on to say that it's a little bit of a different territory for you because it wasn't necessarily about the destination, but about the travels, so to speak. Yeah. And I want to kind of talk about that process and kind of why you said it's more about the road to get there than where you ended up.
Yeah, man, it's it's really fun. First of all, I'm excited about the record coming out. Obviously, it's a lot of work goes into it, not just me, but so many people that made it possible. But also just, yeah, I think I really wanted to make, this whole Wild Woods project for me is like playing with house money in some ways. And I do it because I love it. You know what I mean? I don't have that same thing maybe I had when I was 20 and like, I have to make this work or I can't feed my family, like it's totally different. It's a real passion project. So I think for me, that's why I say that about the destination kind of thing. It's like, I really love getting together with great musicians that I've always wanted to work with and getting in a room and seeing what happens, writing songs from the heart that feel like what I'm dealing with in life right now, not trying to, I don't know, shade it one way or the other. Like it's not trying to be so hip, but I get on this thing or what, you know what I mean? It's just the music I love. And I feel like that it feels a little effortless to me at listening back to it. There's a lot of the music is pretty dense and, layered, but I think in terms of the songwriting and what we were able to do, it feels like what I wanted to make, to be honest with you. So I'm proud of it.
You must be experiencing some type of freedom to that. That must be a great feeling, a freedom.
There's no question, because I've been playing music for a long time, and it's been 20 years, and certain projects, the train leaves the station once you've made them. People have an idea of what it is, and the freedom in this is just that it can be whatever I want it to be. I'm not this, but I just treat myself like I'm Beck, wake up and just go, I can make whatever kind of record I want to make tomorrow. And that's really, it's a good place to be for music, because I think music in part comes from us, but it so much comes from what's around us and sort of being able to receive it. You know what I mean? And so I think not having an agenda for what you're receiving is pretty important.
Excellent. The first single off the album is the song Maestro, Tears Don't Lie. We're actually playing it now on Alt 98.7. So
love that.
Part of the roster. Absolutely. When our listeners do hear that song, what should they know about it? Speak about Maestro for a little bit.
Yeah. it's only song on the record I wrote by myself, which is odd in, these days for me. But it was one that just like the groove got me going. I think I'm a huge fan. One of my favorite singers ever was Joe Cocker. So I like this soul band kind of thing. And I think the dream always has been with Wild Woods, like, hopefully I'll get to tour it in a way that there'll be a full band on stage and we'll do this like kind of rock and roll review sort of feel, Janis Joplin, whatever.
Yeah.
So I think James Brown even just like, man, this is going to be a sweaty, fun night, So I think that song it's immediately when the groove happened, it's like, yeah, I think this is going to feel great live. And then the lyric just kind of let it take me where it took me, which was, I'm going a lot and it's tough on relationships but you really can, I think lean on the relationships that have lasted the longest and that in some ways it's crazy to say, but the ones that bring you the most pain because those are the ones you care about the most. And so Tears Don't Lie. Yeah.
Chattanooga is absolutely loving the song. We were continuing to play it, and I actually love the stripped down version too that you have posted up on your YouTube.
Thank you.
That was it touches in a different way.
Yeah, totally. I think I might like it better. I don't know. I'm trying
I didn't want to say that, but I have. It's kind of a soft spot in my heart, that acoustic,
right on,
down song. So hats off to you for that one. Absolutely. I read that you did most of your writing for this album. You said that was the one that you wrote by yourself, but you did most of the writing kind of during the pandemic. What were your inspirations behind that? Talk about your songwriting. How do you go about it? And first, lyric.
It's different every time in a lot of ways, but I do try to get in the room and let the room start speaking. So it's like, for me, it's I light a candle, I'm a total hippie when it comes to that, I got to get the vibe right. Yeah. And honestly, like sometimes it's a lyric that I've been writing down. Voice memos are full on my phone all the time from little things I'm saying in the car, that kind of thing. So a lot of days though, it's like, man, I'd love to write a song with this sort of groove. I'd love to write a song that says this, so I honestly, even during the pandemic, I was writing stuff that like was ridiculous too. just to kind of keep it fresh and be like, I'm gonna write a really dumb country song today. And I would just laugh the whole time. You know what I mean? It's like it just would kind of clear out the space the next day. I could be like, okay, let's get back down to like what we do here. So yeah, I just playfully really is how I wrote the record.
It's very loose
And
process.
then yeah, and then it just and I think what really turns it into a record to me is the sonics, obviously, you know, how you're trying to approach the whole record. Part of that Fever Sky is talking about that. There's a little bit of the Fever is that sweaty dance, you know, rock stuff I'm talking about. And then the Sky thing is more you know, old man stuff. It's like you look around and go like, what's my place in this world? Like how do I want to you know, talk to my kids? How do I, you know, what kind of relationships do I want to have? What sort of mark do I want to leave? And so there's a little bit of both of those things, I think, on this record.
Excellent. For those who may not know who are watching, you are the front man of the band Need to Breathe, which is a fantastic Grammy nominated, the whole thing. Fantastic. Have you found yourself approaching music differently since doing Wilder Woods just a few years ago? And kind of, do you approach it differently as a solo project compared to when you're with the band?
I think so. I mean, I think, and honestly, both the things I'm approaching differently. I think because of the process, I moved to Nashville about 5 years ago, and really not knowing what I want to do, but just I wanted to collaborate with a bunch of people. I've obviously spent a lot of time in that town, you know, being in music for so long. But I was like, man, it'd be cool to just go write and, you know, a sort of 10 to 4 day and just see if stuff happens and meet people and go like, there's a bunch of musicians that live in town that I want to play with. And I really, I think I approach it more like that now. It feels like, you know, I feel weird if I'm not writing a song in a day.
Yeah.
I feel like if I haven't gone into the office, you know, quote unquote, that I've like, you know, let myself down a little bit. I just, you know, I've never been the writer that was like waiting on some sort of inspiration because I don't think that's real. You know, I think you got to go there and, you know, make the setting for inspiration to show up, you know, and when it does, that's what's beautiful. But so I think I'm doing that. I'm just enjoying music more. That's probably the simplest way to say it. Over the last 5 or 6 years, I've really just loved writing music and playing with new people. And I'm just trying to focus on that part. Too early on, you know, it's easy as a band gets going and you kind of like you're making a real living. Is this a real job? You know, like that a bunch of other things factors creep in. And I just trying to keep the main thing the main thing.
Very cool. The album is dedicated to your youngest child, Waters. You're obviously, as a stage name, going by Wilder Woods, which is based off your son's names as an inspiration kind of behind the solo project. What was the thought process behind that? Why not just go by Bear Reinhardt as people know you? Why go by Wilder Woods for the solo project?
Yeah, there's a couple of reasons. I mean, one as I didn't want it to be tied too closely to the band, and I thought people Google the name, and it's like, oh, that's what this is, and what we did 15 years ago is what he's doing now. You know, it's like I didn't want that. But the other thing was just my dad was a musician. He played trumpet in the 70s, like played with Roy Clark and Glenn Campbell and all these people. And I remember finding an LP, like, you know, in the basement or something when I was like 15 or 16. He was like wearing like, you know, flared jeans and pinky ring and all this stuff, you know. And I was like, what is this? But I thought, whoa, my dad must have had a life before me. And so I think that's an element to that. I was like, it'd be cool. I know that my kids are not gonna think that I'm cool when they're 16, but at least I know I was thinking about them, I cared about them, and some of these songs, you know, I had the best intentions at the very least, and they can make fun of me for the whatever ridiculous fashion is on there and all that.
There you go. And they can't make fun of the name because it's their names. So there you go.
That's right. That's right. And they love the merch. So that's
easy. I bet.
Christmas gifts are easy.
Good point. Very good point. On the new album, Fever Sky, there's 11 tracks. I've only heard a few of them, to be fair, right now, but I'm very excited to hear the rest. We talked about Maestro. I've also listened to Patience and Get It Back, 2 other great songs. So good. I know it's hard to choose, kind of like choosing children, but do you have any favorites, any tracks that really spoke to you in different ways that are on this new album?
Yeah, I mean, there's several, but I think Go Ahead is an interesting one. It's one I kind of like to go listen to, and so you'll have to hear it. It's a little bit of a road song.
Okay.
But a different type of melody than I've really written before. I wrote it with these guys, Trent Dabbs and Rand Jackson, 2 buddies of mine. They're great writers, but just I feel like the way we recorded this song also feels like very chill, almost like Neil Youngish, kind of like, you know, really laid back road song. And I love that one. There's a song called Make Your Own Mistakes. It's about, you know, I'm writing to my kids. I tell them stories every night, part of our routine. and stories from my life. So like they get to pick with age, and it's just like some of it's raw and some of it's, I'm telling them when I got in trouble, I'm telling them all the stuff, and it really just, I think that song was birthed out of that, like their responses to it and how much I don't care if they do what I do. You know what I mean? And I actually don't want them to do what I do. I don't want to make the same mistakes I made, but they got to still make their own, now that's how we learn. And so, that's a really easy thing to say, an incredibly hard lesson to learn. But I love that. I love that song.
Excellent. So a few tracks to look forward to, and it drops tomorrow, March 24th. Also coming up next month, you're heading out on tour, just a couple of weeks away now. You're going to be in our neck of the woods towards the end of the month. Knoxville on the 18th of April, Nashville on the 20th, Birmingham on the 21st, Atlanta on the 22nd. Here in Chattanooga, we're that passerby city, so we can kind of go everywhere. What can people expect as they go out to see you perform for Wilder Woods?
Yeah, it's a pretty big band background singing. I mean, it's going to be a rock and roll thing. The band is way too good for the project this size. So I really believe that. It's like I spent all of my money, literally all of it, on this tour, because I just really want to start as we mean to go on. I feel like this was all about trying to create this live experience. It's infectious and people want to come and see, and so it'll be fun. It's going to be, expect a big band for a club vibe.
Okay. Have you experienced any differences between traveling for a solo project compared to traveling with, say, Need to Breathe? Has been differences for you on a personal level?
Yeah, I mean, sure. The obvious ones are that, the band is at this point in multiple buses and all that kind of stuff. So it's very cush, rock star lifestyle. Whereas, this is kind of grinding. So, that's different, but it's like, it's the same in terms of the energy of, when the band was coming up, these clubs that you play, were where the most energy ever was. I mean, there's just no way to replicate it. You get that 500 to 1,000 seat place and everybody's into it and everybody's kind of like buzzing. It's nothing like it to me. So, that kind of outweighs all that other stuff. It's a little tougher to bring the family out and those kind of things, but, yeah, in the end, it's just music, man. It's just we're trying to have a conversation with people. And I think we use the guitar and the songs to do that. And these are different songs, sure, but really that's what you're getting, I think, in a concert, is having a conversation with who the artist is.
Excellent. And if people can't make it out to any of those shows, shame on them first and foremost. But if they can't do some traveling, you are going to be right here in Chattanooga as part of Moon River Music Festival. As an artist, what's the difference between maybe going on tour like you're doing and then performing these type of festivals?
I love a good festival. I mean, I think it's a huge difference, really. I mean, one is the band is never as rehearsed as we are when we're on a tour. What I mean by that is like, you just get out there, it's like night in, night out. You're playing 4 or 5 nights a week. It gets to be like, maybe we're really tight, but there's something awesome about the sort of looseness, or maybe you're playing during the day when the lights are, are not a factor. And it's like all this in between song stuff happens. I just find it to be, just a little more raw and rock and roll in these festival situations. And obviously people's expectations, because they're going there for a weekend of like nothing but the stuff they love. It just creates, I don't know, just like a real communal thing. And we've always liked that. And so I think we go a little bit harder at the festivals. I don't know why. It's like competing with the other bands or whatever.
I was just going to say,
hit it hard.
There's got to be something in you, in a fun, obviously friendly nature, but a competitive. It's like if some act comes out and they absolutely crush it and you're coming up after them, it's like, okay, well, they brought it, so now we have to bring it even harder.
There's no question that's competitive. I mean, we're not cutting anybody's tires or anything.
No, of course not.
Other than that, we're trying to show out. Yeah.
Yeah, steal the show for sure.
Yeah.
Well, very good. Bear, thanks so much for taking the time and talking. This has been fantastic. We're going to continue to play your music, of course. We're playing Maestro, like I mentioned, on Alt 98.7 tomorrow. We're all going to rush out, get that album, Fever Sky. And, of course, we're going to be seeing you on tour. They can go to your website. Of course, we'll link up to on our website so they get the full list of all the dates. And hopefully we'll see you soon when you hit this September. You'll be right here in Chattanooga in our own backyard for Moon River Music Festival. We're looking forward to it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it very much.
All right.
Take it easy. Yeah. Thanks for having me.